Okay, hopefully that's a little better. Okay, hopefully the playback's a little better now. I think I fixed a couple things and I'll make that work. Okay. This free. It should have froze because I X'd out for a second, so there will be a. I guess there is a little bit of a delay. It should be pretty timely, but that's okay. Get my laptop here. Okay. It's worse, really? Shouldn't be. I mean, I can go back to the way I was doing it. So. Okay. Let me know, people. Is it better or worse? Because if this isn't gonna work, I'm gonna switch over to another way. You are like 24 pixels total. Oh, gosh. Okay, let me see. If I start drawing, can you see what I'm drawing? Because that's weird that it's so laggy. It shouldn't be. I got a pretty solid machine here. Okay. Let me see. Uh-oh. I don't know how to use Clecky, apparently. What am I doing? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm on white. That's why. Okay, we're going to fix that. Alright, can you see that? How's that look? Slide the slide bar. Slide the slider to black? Yeah, I know. I just figured that out. Alright. Okay, so I see one person saying it's really blurry, but I don't see anyone else. Okay, it's clear. Okay, good. Alright, thank goodness. Alright, I was getting worried for a second. I mean, you don't have to see me very clearly because I'm not really going to be doing anything. In fact, I can even shrink my video down a little bit if that helps. Maybe that'll help our... There we go, okay. Alright. Alright, well, everything looks like it's putting out for me, and they're like a bunch of pixels. Can you see where it says hi? Is that clear enough? Okay, well, anyway, well... Yeah, but it looks like I'm on a 24-year-old computer. Yeah, I was gonna say it's everyone else it should be working for because this is like just a typical. Should have all the typical features of the normal YouTube video. So it'll probably come in clear after the recording. So if you're having a really hard time with it on your machine, maybe it's better to watch it as playback. So I am gonna go ahead and get started. We're already 10 minutes in. I don't want to delay us any further. So I am going to be looking at the Cycle 10 assessment, and I did do some of this. Some of this stuff is review for my classes as well. So I'm also gonna pull. Well, we'll see how far we get. Okay. So the first thing I want to go over that I feel like we need to get into more detail on would be these triangles. Okay, triangles are a little difficult to understand. And I feel like, at least in my class, I didn't get to go over it as much as I would like to. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. I'm going to talk about the rules of triangles that you need to know for this test. And again, there's plenty of rules that you need to know for triangles. But you're going to have to... what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, well, anyway, as you don't need to know this stuff for this test, but as you get older, you're going to add more to your knowledge. And so we want to understand these basics of triangles, okay? So let me see. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you have let's say you have one side that's 1, you have another side that's 2, and let's say this last one is 4. Okay, so I have 3 sides of this triangle, 1, 2, and 4. And I can zoom in on this too, actually. Let me zoom in a little more, maybe that'll help. Okay, there we go. So I've got a couple different sides, 1, 2, and 4. Alright, now I have the one rule that you really need to know about triangles is that if you're given 3 different lengths, or even if you're given all the same length, no matter what, if your 2 smaller sides end up being less than your third side when you add them together, so in this instance, I'm going to go back to this here, I'm going to erase this. Oh no, I don't know how to erase in Clecky. I'm such an amateur. I'll just undo. Alright, so in this case, I have 1, I have 2, and I have 4. Okay, so these are the 3 sides that I'm given, and I have to decide whether or not this is going to make a triangle when I add them up. Okay, so the way that we want to do this is if I look at the two smallest sides, which are 1 and 2. All right, what I want to do is I want to add them together. All right, so when I add them together, I get 3, and my longest side is 4. Okay, now here's the rule you have to understand about the different sides of a triangle, is that if you have your two smallest sides added together are not, if they are less than this number, then you do not have a triangle. No triangle there. Okay, and I'll show you why. So again, I have the sides 1, 2, and 4. So if I go back to the triangle maker here that we were using in class, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on this. Alright. So I have this side length, which is 2. I have this side length, which is 1, and these are my two smaller sides. And then my largest side is 4. Okay, no matter what I do, okay, these two sides are never going to touch. Okay, you can see this little circle that radiates around this point here on the vertex. Even if I were to lay them flat, I mean, realistically, they should never touch because I only have 1 plus 2, which is 3, and this is a length of 4. So these two, even if I lay them right on that line, are never going to touch. So as a triangle, they're never going to touch. Okay, so in order to get these sides to actually connect and make a triangle, I would have to shorten this side or lengthen these sides. Okay, so I'm going to choose a different example here. So let's say I have the sides 3, I have 4, okay, and I have 6. So I want you guys to tell me, will this make a triangle, and how do you know? Okay, will these three sides make a triangle? We're going to get to that. I see someone asking, what if they equal the larger number? And that's actually what we're going to go to next. Okay, but in this case, I've got my two smaller sides, which are 3 and 4, and then my longest side is 6. Okay, so I want to know, just by looking at these numbers, will this make a triangle? And if anyone hasn't yet, let me know. Yes, their sum is more than 6. Okay, good. So yeah, so if I add these two together, okay, 7 is greater than, and let me see, who asked that question? J.K. Master asked the question, what if they're equal? Okay, if the two sides put together are greater than or equal to the third side, you will have a triangle. Okay, so let's go back to the triangle page. All right, so if I adjust these, all right, and I make this one 1, wait, what was it, 2, what was it? So I can't remember. Hold on, I gotta go back. 3, 4, and 6. Okay, so if this is 3, so move into 3, and this is 4. All right, and this one is 6. All right, let's see if we can make a triangle from this. Okay. All right, you can see already that these are actually crossing, and I know that they're going to line up because these two circles intersect right here. Okay, so I can drag these up here together. All right, and I will end up getting a triangle. And again, I can't get these to line up perfectly, as some of you know from class, but that's pretty close. All right. So, yep, I do use Twitch, and I do stream myself playing video games, but that's not what we're talking about today, and I am using all the same things that I do this with. But anyway, so yeah, so again, these two sides, when added together, equaled 7, and 7 is greater than 6, so we're going to have a triangle. Okay. Now, let's see, J.K. Master asked the question, what if they equal the longest side? Okay, so let's say I take this side up here that I have as 3, and let's say I reduce it to 2. I'm going to bring this down to 2. Okay, so I have 2, 4, and 6, right? And 2 plus 4 equals 6. So they will actually end up making a triangle. Okay, and again, where they cross, it doesn't make for a very pretty triangle. Okay, but you can see right here, I'm going to get a very, very long triangle. But a triangle is defined as having 3 sides, and it's defined as having 3 angles, which this one has. Okay, and the last rule that you have to understand, and you can kind of see it here, is all 3 angles have to add up to equal exactly 180 degrees. Okay, so in this case, because of the length of these sides, I have a 7-degree angle, and I have a 14-degree angle. Okay, so if we go back to this page here, I'm going to erase some stuff here. So another rule that we have to understand about triangles. Apparently I gotta do this. There we go. Okay. Just gonna color it over. Okay. So another rule that you have to understand about triangles is that you have to have, we talked about the side lengths and how that works, and we'll do a little bit more of that. And then the other thing you have to understand is that all three angles have to add up to equal 180 degrees. So we're only given, in this example, we're given 7 and 14. Okay. So I have 7 and I have 14. Okay, but I don't know what the third angle is. Okay, so we'll call that angle A. I don't know what that angle is going to be. But I know that the rules of a triangle say that all the angles have to add up to equal 180 degrees. Okay, I'm trying to write as nicely as I can with the with my mouse here. So anyway, yes, yeah, please try to keep it math related. I do appreciate that. I see a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be in here, and again, I do know who you guys are in real life, so I don't have to address that in real life. You know the rules of my chat and the rules of the live stream. So let's not make this, let's not make it so that I don't want to do these anymore, okay? Because I am taking time out of my own evening, so let's make sure we're staying on track, please. All right, so in this case, we are going to combine like terms here. All right, so 7 plus 14 is 21, okay? And we're adding this to A, right? And then this is equaling 180. Okay, and we're going to imply that it's degrees. I'm not going to do the degree sign every time. Okay, so next order of business, I need to get the A by itself, and the way I do that is I have a positive 21, so I subtract 21 to make that go away. What I do to this side, though, I have to do to this side, as you know. All right, and I'm going to subtract. Okay, and of course, if we borrow, okay, 10 minus 1 is 9. 7 minus 2 is 5. And I bring down the 1. So the last angle of this triangle is 159 degrees. And that's a pretty wide angle, okay? Because if we have a 90 degree angle here, right? I mean that's kind of a square corner. Okay, well, it's almost 160 degrees. That's going to be a very wide angle. Okay, and there's the angle arc there. Okay, I got to draw my little arrows. Draw the arrows. Okay, I got to put a dot on my vertice there. There we go. Okay, so an angle like that's going to be very wide. So if we look at the triangle here, that makes sense because this angle is extremely wide. And so 159 is a reasonable number. Okay, so 159 plus these two ends up equaling the 180 degrees that make up a triangle. Okay, so that's how these side lengths work. Okay, and I if we need to do more examples of this, I'm happy to do that. But again, you can always rewatch the stream too if you weren't sure how this worked. But the main thing you need to walk away understanding is that the two smallest sides need to add up to be either equal to or greater than the third side, the longest side. If they don't equal 180, you're not going to have a triangle. Okay, so actually I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Okay, so I'm going to shorten up these side lengths here. Okay, or I'm gonna go 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna make the triangle a little easy to work with. That's a really good question. So if I zoom in on this triangle that we've created, okay, what's interesting is you have a triangle where the lines cross. Okay. So you can't really have a triangle that's smaller than 180 degrees. You can't really. It's hard to make a shape other than a triangle without having less than 180 degrees. Okay. So because wherever I move these lines, the triangle is where these points cross. Okay. So what would happen is if I move this one here and I move this one here, and I'm trying to shorten the lengths of these, and let's say that's 12 and that's 17. Well, now I have 29 degrees, but then that automatically makes this 151 degrees. Okay, so the fact that these, I mean, look at these like two separate angles that we're just kind of smushing together here. Okay, so it's kind of looking like this. Okay, we're always going to have, it's okay, Viv, there's no problem. It's okay, don't worry about it. Just let it go. It's all good. But anyway, so no matter how these angles cross, if this bottom line is lined up like it is, okay, if these two angles are sharing this bottom line, wherever they cross, it's always going to form a triangle, and that triangle is always going to have 180 degrees every single time. Okay, now if you have it wider than 180 degrees, okay, so let's say you create, and again, it's probably not going to let me, but let's say, oh, good, I created a perfectly 90-degree angle. Okay, and over here, let's say I do the same thing. Okay, well, of course it's going to be difficult. That's fine. Okay, but let's say I have two 90-degree angles. Now here's the thing: if both these angles are 90 degrees, okay, so that means these lines are perpendicular to this line. Okay, what's going to happen is, don't worry about it. It's no problem. Don't worry about it. But anyway, so I have these two sides, right? Okay, and they're both at 90 degrees. They are never, ever, ever going to cross. I've just made a set of parallel lines, and parallel lines are defined as lines that will never cross, right? Okay, so if I have two 90-degree angles, I'm never going to get a triangle, if I ever can get it back to 90. Whatever, that's close enough. Anyway, if these are both 90, they'll never cross, and therefore I'll never get to that point where I'll actually get a triangle. So that's why you can't have more than 180 degrees. And again, you cannot make a triangle with less than 180 degrees. And if you go ahead and try, by all means. That's just the rules of a triangle. And that's just how it works. So, but again, yeah, they're parallel, exactly. So yeah, when you create two perpendicular lines, and the bottom line is they're coming off the same line, they're perpendicular, you create parallel lines, they're never going to cross, okay? Now, you could have an 89-degree angle, okay? Let me see if I can, okay, let's just come on, work with me here. Oh my gosh, whatever. Alright, fine. Let's say that's an 89-degree angle. Okay, eventually, because these are slightly not parallel, it'll take a very long time, like way off the screen, but eventually they will touch. Okay, so you could have a 90-degree angle, you can have an 89-degree angle, and you can have a 1-degree angle, and you're going to have a very long triangle. Okay, but again, that all adds up to 180 degrees. So again, the main bullet points from this conversation is that a triangle always has to equal 180 degrees. Okay, and so all the angles have to add up to equal 180. And that way, if you're missing an angle, if you have the other two angles, you can always find the third angle, which is what we did. And then the second thing we have to take away from this is that if the third side is larger than the sum of the two smaller sides, as you can see here, you will never have a triangle. These will never touch. Okay, so these have to be at least equal to the third side. And again, you get a really weird looking triangle. But these two, the sum of them can also be greater than the third side. Okay, and the closer they are to the third side, the more equilateral the triangle actually becomes, the more nice looking it becomes. Apparently these lines don't want to move. Whatever, you get the point. Okay. So again, the triangle, the closer they are together, the more equilateral, the more normal looking the triangle becomes. Okay. So in this case, I've got a 58 degree and a 58 degree. We'll just round. I'm just rounding. So 58 and 58. Okay. So that would be, what, 116? So that means that this angle would have to be, I'm doing the math in my head here. Hold on, I gotta write it down. This is bothering me. Actually, I'll just do it over here. Okay, so it says that both of these angles are, we'll just say they're both 58. Okay, just to make it easy. Okay. Alright, that's as far as I can go. Alright. As I was saying. Okay, so let's say you have a 58. Okay, and let's say, I guess that rounds to 59 technically, so we'll just say 59. Okay, so 58 plus 59. Okay, plus the third angle, okay, is always going to equal, as we said, 180 degrees. Okay, excuse my mouse writing. I'd call it my handwriting, but okay, so if I take 58 and 59 and add them together, well, I would get 117. Right? So those two angles put together is 117. Plus the third angle that we don't know is going to equal 180 degrees. Okay? And there they are. So now I have to subtract 117 from both sides because I have a positive 17 here. I want to get rid of it to get a by itself. So I have to do the same thing to both sides. Alright? So let's see, got to borrow, you know this. Okay, so 3. So the last angle is going to be 63 degrees. Okay? So we now know the third angle because A equals, which is the third angle, 63. Okay? So now, even though it doesn't give me the measurement, okay, 58 plus 59, okay, that third angle is 63 degrees about. So, because again, the triangle has to equal 180 degrees. And as you can see, you can have decimals of an angle, but we're not really going to get into that in 7th grade, so don't worry too much about that. Okay? So again, the smaller two sides have to be, when they add together, have to be greater than or equal to the third side, the longest side, and all your angles have to add up to equal 180 degrees. If you know those things, you will do well on about 1/4 of this test. So it's a lot. So those are the two things you really have to know because you're going to be given lists of angles, and you're going to have to tell us as teachers, you know, can you make a triangle with those side lengths and with those angles? So if you can answer those correctly, again, these rules should help you. Okay? So let's move on to some of the vocabulary. And I wish I could draw right on here. I'm kind of annoyed I don't have my smartboard, but maybe I'll have to cast from school next time, but you know, then I can't do it at night. So actually, I'm gonna use Google Drawings for this. I'm gonna try this. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna talk about, this should work, is finding the complement and the supplement. Okay. So this should work. Maybe I should do this more often. Complement. All right. And I always spell that wrong, so hopefully I spelled it right this time. Okay. So we're going to talk about finding the complement of an angle. Okay? Come on, computer, work on me. Alright. So finding the complement. Alright. So let's say I have this angle. Alright. And let's say, let's say for argument's sake that it's, let's say it's 48 degrees. Okay, can I get a special character here? Google, come on, man, help me out. I used to know how to do that. I think it's Alt 0. No. Oh, that's doing other stuff. Okay, I need to stop messing around. Okay, so assume that the degree sign is there. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I did my hair a little nicer today too, you know, because I knew I was going to be on TV. All right, is this? Do you want me to zoom in a little bit? Is this too? Maybe this is too small. I'll make this a little larger here. Sorry again, using new tools here, so. You know, hopefully things are turning out okay. All right, I'm gonna fix this to make it look a little bit more usable here. Make the line thicker. There we go. All right, yeah, that's way better. What are we doing? What a bunch of amateurs, right? Okay, here we go. All right, so add a line. Oh yeah, much better. Except it didn't do at all what I wanted it to do, but that's okay. Whatever. All right, I'm getting used to it all. All right, so again, let's say that this angle is 48 degrees. Okay. So I can find two things with just the angle measurement. Alright. So I know it's 48. We're going to size that up a little bit. Okay. Oh my gosh, what a noob. Alright. Finally, there we go. So 48 degrees. Okay, so I can find the supplement. Okay. Oh, I can do arrows? What am I doing with my life? Where was that? Let's see if it'll do it. Oh yeah, look at that. Alright, learned something new today. Alright, I'm going to stop doing that now. Alright, I'll do that on the next one, but nevertheless. Okay, so now I can find the complement of this angle, and I can also find the supplement of this angle. Okay, so if I'm finding the complement, what I need to find is what is going to make a 90-degree angle if I were to add these two together. Okay, so really what I'm looking for the complement, is I am looking for this angle here. Okay. Alright, so I'm looking for this angle. And again, I know that if it's the complement, complementary angles add up to equal 90 degrees. Okay, right? They equal 90. And again, I can't find the degrees sign right now, so I'll work on that. Maybe I can do that. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to do that. Insert. Is there a character? Okay. Oh, special characters. Here we go. I'll just copy and paste that so I always have it. Degrees, degrees, degrees. It's got to be here somewhere. What is this? No, that's not it. One of these has got to be it, right? No. Come on, Mr. Coffee. You're better than this. Sorry about putting my face way up to the camera there. It's got to look weird. Alright, well, whatever. Ah, bummer. Hold on. Maybe it'll do it. Yeah, alright. Oh, yeah. Alright, there we go. Okay. Look at that. Alright. So anyway, I see people already solving this problem, so that gives me high hopes. Okay. Let's see if we can get it. Ah, jeez. Boy, that's obnoxious. Alright. Sorry, everyone. I'm just the worst. There we go. That'll work. That'll work. Okay. Alright, so anyway. Amateur hour. Okay, so anyway, I see people already doing that. You're realizing that I have x plus 48 ends up equaling 90. So the way you solve that is just subtracting 48 from 90. Okay, so long story short, okay, 90 minus 48 is going to equal 42. So now we have found the complement. Okay, so this is the complement. All right, we found the complementary angle of 48. Okay, but now we can also find the supplementary angle. Okay, we can also find the supplement. All right, so we're going to do that. So let's pretend that an arrow is going this way here. And not pretend, it actually is, because we're awesome. Okay, so now we can also find the supplement. All right, so when we're looking for the supplement, let's see if I can spell tonight. Supplement. Okay, supplement, does that look right? Supplement is going to end up equaling 180 degrees. Okay, so the same idea is going to occur here. Okay, but instead of subtracting from 90, okay, again, I have a straight line here, and straight lines have a 180 degree, they are 180 degrees, okay? So if I have 48 on this half of the line, then I know on the other side I have 180 minus 48, okay? So just like we did, but instead of 90, we're doing 180, okay? And in this case, I would have a 132 degree angle, okay? Yeah, I knew I was going to regret that. I had to copy the 72, didn't I? Okay, maybe I'll copy it a little smaller. Okay. So anyway, so I end up having 132 degree angle, okay, and that is the supplement. All right. So again, I have complement and I have supplement, okay, and you can find either for any angle that is less than 180 degrees, which is only what you're going to be dealing with in 7th grade right now, okay? So I found the supplement. It's, again, for 48, the supplement is 132, because when I take 132 and I add it to 48, I end up getting 180 degrees, all right? And again, I also found the complement. I need to find a different color for this. Okay. All right, and again, here's the complement. Oh, there we go. All right, and again, the complement is going to be when we're comparing it to 90 degrees. All right, come on. Where's the text color? There we go. Do red. Perfect. Yes, look at that. Awesome. Except for all the extra arrows I just put in here. All right. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. We had a test over a week ago. Again, we've been doing smaller units, and those smaller units have had less within the topic. So it may feel like we have all these tests, but again, these tests, this test is worth 30 points coming up. So instead of giving you a 100-point test over a ton of topics, we're giving you more smaller tests that are on less topics. So you're welcome. But anyway, yep. So here's the and then there's the arrow there. Okay. So the other thing that we're going to talk about. Oh, hello, Ari. All right, you want in? Come here. Okay. All right, come on. All right. So Ari wants in on the next one here. Say hello, pup. All right, sit down. So the next one. Well, thank you. Okay, we got work to do. Would you stop? Okay. So another thing you'll have to do is you might be given this angle measurement. Oh my gosh, get this out of the... Alright, come on, I'm trying to work here. Alright, I'm going to kick you out. Okay, delete that. Alright. So, we'll leave this, we'll change this actually. We'll change this to, we'll make it 30... We'll make it 30... We'll make it 36. Oh, hello, thank you. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Okay, take it easy. Alright, get down. You're done. Okay. So, let's say, we'll stick with the supplementary angles here. Alright. So again, remember, when we're finding the supplement, we need to equal 180 degrees. So you are going to see problems that look like this, where you have an angle measurement. All right, the angle measurement's here. Okay. All right, there we go. Bring that up. All right. Sorry, this isn't going as perfectly as I had planned. So that's my dog Ari. She says hello. All right. Let me see. Where's that? Okay. All right. So you will see problems where you have a expression on this side. Okay. So let's say, what's that font here? Okay, 36. So we'll make this 36 too. So what can happen is you might have an expression, and let's say it says 2x plus, we'll say plus 8. Okay. So you still have two angles here. And I found that my class today got a little confused about this. Okay, so I have 36 degrees here, and I'm going to make this a little bit more like 36 degrees. There we go. Okay, sorry, that was bothering me. Sorry if I'm moving a little slower today. I know usually I go a little faster paced, but a lot of the technology stuff I'm trying today is kind of making things crazy. But anyway, so let's see. Okay, so now I have a different kind of equation that I have to do here. Okay, so I know that my equation is going to have to equal 180 because I have supplementary angles. Okay, so whenever we find supplementary angles, okay, we have 180 degrees is what they have to total to be. Okay, but I'm still adding the one angle to the other because again, it's across a straight line. Okay, or a straight line is it should be a straight line. Let's make that a little more straight. Okay, so I have a straight line here. All right, and oh my God, where my text box? There we go. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so I'm still going to add the first angle, which in this case is 2x plus 8. We just don't know what that equals yet. Okay, so I'm going to take the first angle, so this whole quantity. Okay, and I'm going to add it to the second angle, which is 36. And we know that both these angles together have to add up to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so when you have an expression as your angle measurement, you have to create an equation from that. Okay, and you know the answer to the equation because you're dealing with supplementary angles, so that's something you're going to be expected to know. Okay, so again, the 36 came from this angle, and the other angle measurement is 2x plus 8, and we have to solve for x in order to, well, we just have to solve for x. That's really what we're going to be asked to do here. So since I'm just adding, I know I put it in parentheses, but these parentheses can actually go away. All right, and it doesn't affect the problem because of the commutative property of addition, which I know you all know so well. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of those parentheses. All right, don't really need them right now. I'm going to extend this down here. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we're going to combine like terms. All right, so I can combine the 8 and the 36. So I have 2x plus, and let's see, 36 plus 8 is 44. Okay, and this is all still going to equal 180. And I'll try to spread this out, try to keep the equal signs in the same spot so that we kind of can keep things even. All right, there we go. All right, so now that I've combined like terms, again, my goal is to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 44 because I have a positive 44. So subtracting 44. All right, and that ends up equaling, well, we have 2x left, right, because the positive and negative 44s, they cancel. Okay, and the 2x is going to end up equaling, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Let's see, that would be 136. All right, and correct me if I'm wrong here. I know I'm going kind of fast, so if I make mistakes, let me know. I have no shame in making mistakes. Okay, these things happen. All right, of course, I got to move everything up here. Hold on a second. Okay, move all this up. Oh my gosh. Technology fail. All right. Oh my gosh. This is so frustrating. All right, there we go. I'm going to move all this up. Okay, I'm going to move my text box down. Sorry, everyone. It's embarrassing. Anyway, so now I see some things in the chat that I'm not really thrilled about, so I might have to address that with some students tomorrow. Hopefully that's not the case. So anyway, so I have a 2x, right? So I'm actually going to divide by 2 to get rid of the 2 attached to the x. Okay, so dividing by 2 here, and dividing by 2 here. Alright, so x is going to end up equaling let's see, 136 divided by 2. Let me see here. So half of 36 is 18. I think that's, is that 60? No. Is that... Ugh. Where's my mental math at? Let me see. So what's half of 13? Half of 13 is 6.5. 65. Is that 71? Does that sound right? No, it's not 71. I don't have my calculator. Help me out here, somebody. 68. Alright, that sounds right. Alright, so x is going to equal 68 here. Alright. Now, if I want to double check this, alright, I can plug that back into the equation, and then I should get the supplement of 36, right? Alright, so I'm going to do another text box here. So this is me checking my answer to make sure that I got it correct. Alright. Okay. Let's see. Alright. So, I have the original equation up here that I came up with. Okay, and now I'm going to plug in 2 times 68. Okay, and we're adding that to 8. And then we're adding that to 36. Alright. So I'm going to contain all this because I'm going to make sure this all works out the way I want it to before I bring the 36 into the mix here. You can do that in math, that's what's cool. Okay, so I have 2 times 68. So that would be, let's see, 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1, so 12, so 13. So I have 136, right? I think that's right. Let me know if I'm wrong. Alright. so 136 plus 8, which is still inside there, so I gotta do that first. Okay, whoops, 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 there we go. Okay, still adding 36 to it, bring all that down. Still making sure it equals 180, bringing all that down. Okay, so that's 144 plus 36 equals 180. Alright, so now that I figured all this out, what I'm saying here is that this all adds up to equal 144. So this is a 144 degree angle, and this is a 36 degree angle. Okay, and if I did that correctly, then they both should equal 180. Okay, so 6 plus 4 is 10, carry the 1. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus the 1 I carried is 8. And I already have 100, so last I checked, 180 equals 180. So, boom. Okay, it checks out. I need a check mark. How do I do a check mark on here? I used to know how. Whatever. You get the point. Checks out. We're good. We're going to highlight it in green because we're happy. Okay, let's fill that right there. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I'm tired. Okay, there you go. So, we're good to go. Boom. Alright. So you will see problems like this where you'll get a problem and you'll have to create an equation from it, knowing that that supplementary angles equal 180 and knowing that complementary angles equal 90. Alright. You'll also have a situation, perhaps, okay, where you will need to maybe you'll be given 3 angles. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this stuff. Again, if you want to watch, you can always go back and watch it again if you're looking to write this down or whatnot. I think we will. Again, I'm going over the things that are pretty important for the test, and you know, you have a little faith in me here. Okay, so you will have a situation where you have, you might get 2 angle measurements. Okay, I want a line. I want an arrow, actually. Okay, so let's see. Let's make this a little thicker. Okay. Alright, sure, we'll take it. Okay. So again, when you have a line, you have 180 degrees. And there, regardless of whether you have 2 angles, or in this case, let's say you have 3 angles. Okay. Alright, and that can happen. Oh, jeez. Alright, just let me move this. Come on now. Okay. Alright, so this can happen, by the way. Alright, where you have 3 angles. Alright, and this might happen on your test. In fact, it probably will. So let's say you have a 43 degree angle. Alright, let's grab this guy here. We'll put him here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, so let's say this one's 43. Alright, and let's say... let's say this one, we don't know what it is. So we'll call it X. And let's say this last one. I'm doing the best I can, people. Here, I'm trying to do what I can do around here. There we go. And let's say the last one is, we'll say it's 64. All right. So again, you will have a problem like this, or something. You know, you might have something similar on your test, where you have 3 angles. And you have to figure out what the third angle is here. But again, if you know that we're dealing with supplementary angles, okay, then you know that all 3 of these angles, even though there's 3 now instead of 2, all 3 of them have to end up equaling 180 degrees because you're dealing with supplementary angles. All right. So again, we just have to form an equation, which we know how to do. All right, we've done this plenty, so we're pretty smart cookies here. Okay. So I know that if I have 64 and I'm adding that to the 43. And I'm adding that to the X, then I will end up getting 180 degrees. Okay? Yep, and I see a wash tulip. I'm not sure who or what that is, but that sounds fun. Anyway, so that person says you add those 2 together, which you do. Okay, so 3 plus 4 is 7. 6 plus 4 is 10. So you have 107 degrees plus X, and that equals 108. Or sorry, 180. My bad. So now it just becomes a regular algebra problem where I'm going to just do the same thing to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 107. And then I should be able to get the right answer here. So I should get X equals, let's see, that would be 73. That sound right? Okay. And again, you can check this by adding these together. So 64 plus 43 plus 73. Alright, and last based on what we just did, 107 plus 73 should equal 180 degrees, right? Alright, so that's how we know we did it correct. Okay, good. So yeah, always double check my work because it's been a long day and a long day of math and whatnot. So, and apparently my dog wants to get out of this room here. So hold on 1 second. You asked Alexa. All right, go ahead, Ari. Go back. All right. So I do have a little more time. I've got 10 minutes. So let me know what it is you want to go over, and I'm happy to do that. So if there's something in particular you want to talk about, we talked at length about triangles. Let's see. We talked about using a protractor in class, and I know that the red and blue math teachers did as well. We've talked about finding the complement and the supplement in these examples, which will apply to multiple parts on the test. And we didn't talk about vertical angles, actually, so let's talk about that a little bit. Congruent angles, yes. That would be your vertical angles, okay? So I will talk about that. We're going to change this over to vertical angles. Okay. All right, so vertical angles. And what you have to know about vertical angles is that they are, I'm going to see if I can find the symbol. Okay, instead of special character, I'm going to see if I can get congruent. Oop, oh yeah, look at that. We're so cool. Oh my gosh, look at us. We're amazing. All right, I don't know why the dot's above it, but I'm not going to question it. So vertical angles are congruent. That means they have the same measurement. Okay, so I'm going to turn these into vertical angles. All right, so let me see. I'm going to rotate this. Okay. And I'm sorry we didn't talk about this. I thought we had, but it's just my crazy brain and how it works. All right, you guys can still hear me okay and everything, I assume. So I'm gonna keep plugging along here, and let me know what you think of this new format. I know it's not perfect; it's not without its issues, but I think it's been easier to explain certain things. Okay, yeah, Alexa's kind of mean like that. All right, so anyway. Again, vertical angles, so I'm going to bring this down here. Alright, I'm going to rotate that. Alright, so now we got some vertical angles going on here. Assuming that I can... There we go, okay. Alright, so now we have vertical angles. Almost. There we are. Okay, so now I have vertical angles. Thank goodness. Okay, so I'm going to ditch this angle measurement. Okay, we're going to say that this one is, we'll just say 52. Okay, so... if I have vertical angles, alright, the cool thing is I can find what this one equals across here because vertical angles are congruent. So since vertical angles are congruent, I know that x is going to equal 52 in this case. Alright, so x equals 52 because these angles across from each other are equal, they're congruent, they have the same measurement. Okay, and that was something that you learned earlier in class. And let's see. My goodness, the chat is very fired up today. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, so the reason that we need to know that vertical angles are congruent is because on your test, you might get something that looks like this. You might get 3x minus, we'll say, trying to think. Okay, let's say. We'll say 4. Alright. So I have to try to come up with numbers on the fly that actually work. So, alright, so I have 52, and I have 3x minus 4. So again, I know that these two are congruent. So I know that whatever this is has to equal this. It has to equal 52. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to solve this equation for 52. Alright. So 52 equals 3x minus 4. And again, I put the answer before in this case because you can do that. Remember, in an equation, you can see it both ways in the same order. Okay, so it doesn't matter which way I show it. So anyway, I'm going to do what I normally do. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this, I'm going to get rid of the fluff, get rid of whatever's not attached to the x. So in this case, it's a negative 4. So I'm going to put a positive 4 on this side. Okay, and I'm going to put a positive 4 on this side, so now they cancel. Okay. So these are let me draw a line through that. Ready? Oh, that's a would-be line. Alright, anyway. Whatever. You get the point. There we go. Put a line through that. Like that. There we go. Okay. Let's put a line through that because it's gone. Okay, so now I'm going to do 52 plus 4. And that's going to end up equaling... Okay. Come on, text box guy. Okay. Sorry, as I was saying. So now I have 56. And that equals 3x. Okay. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Alright, dividing both sides. Alright, and again, sometimes they don't work out evenly, but you still should get a number for x here. Okay, so now we're going to cross out this 3 here, right? We don't need that anymore. So that's gone. Look at that. I'm getting better every time. Alright, so now x is going to be left by itself. So I have 56 divided by 3, and I know that 3 does not go into that evenly. Oh, I forgot that the music's still going. I have my headphones off. So let me see here. So let's see. It goes in... let me think here. I feel like I should know this. Okay, so 20 would be 19, would be 18, and... Let's see. No, it's not 18. Where is it? Yeah, it's 18. 54. Okay. So it would be 18 2/3, looks like. And that would equal x. Okay, if you did it on a calculator, it would probably be 18.6 repeating, which, yep, looks like Amelia found that. Okay, so if you did it on a calculator, you'd get 18.6 repeating, and if you do it as a fraction, you would get 18 2/3 equals x, okay? So again, the numbers don't have to be perfect for this to work out, because I'm just finding the value of x, but what I need to find is something that is equivalent to 52, because both sides of both of these angles are congruent, okay? So... You and Alexa, my goodness. Well, you know, she does a good job, so I can't really argue about that. Alright, so I think that's really all that we need to go over that's in addition to what we talked about in class. And again, tomorrow we're going to go over some of this as well, just to make sure we have it solidified. We're going to work with protractors more to make sure we're measuring angles correctly, finding complements and supplements. We now can use equations in order to find x when we're dealing with angles. We just have to know which angles are equivalent to what. So in this case, vertical angles are congruent. They have the same measurement across. Okay, so these are vertical angles. Okay, supplementary angles add up to equal 180. Complementary angles add up to equal 90. These are things we know. So we can use an equation to solve those. Okay, and let me see what else. We know what to do when we have 3 angles on a line. We know what to do. We should know what adjacent angles are. We should know what a linear pair is, and we should know what vertical angles are, which is what I just went over. Okay, and then we did a ton of work with triangles at the beginning. And again, triangles all 3 angles need to add up to equal 180. And all of their sides, the 2 smallest sides, cannot add up to be less than the 3rd side. Otherwise, you won't have a triangle. So if the 2 smallest sides are greater than and equal to the 3rd side when you add them together, then you would have a triangle, which I showed you in the triangle maker scenario. Okay, so we've gone over quite a bit today. And again, you can always watch this afterwards. Do you have to change the decimal into a fraction? No, I just do that because it's easier, to be honest. And a lot of people don't realize that the way I can even talk about the way I did that. Okay, it's with long division, really. So if I'm going to take, and they're all like, no, not long division. So I'll show you how I did that, because it's a really easy skill to know. I used to hate fractions until I realized they're so much easier. Okay, so if I have 56, right? And I'm going to just do an upright line here. If I'm dividing this by 3, alright. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 3 go into 56? Okay, well, I'm going to start with, how many times does 3 go into 5? Let me up the font here. Okay, long division, guys. I taught it when I was a 4th grade teacher, so we should know it. But I've been wrong before. Alright, so let's see. So 3 goes into 5 one time, right? It goes in one time evenly. Come on, computer. There we go. Okay, so 3 goes into 5 one time. Okay, 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, we're going to subtract that away. And then we end up getting 2, right? So we have 2. And we're going to bring down our 6. Okay, so now we ask, how many times does 3 go into 26? Well, let's see. I know my 3's, and 3 times 8 is 24, right? So 8 times 3. Okay, like Control E. Okay. Alright, so anyway, so 8 times 3 is 24. Alright, and when I subtract that away from 26, I end up getting 2. Okay, now you remember this, hopefully, as being called a remainder of 2. Okay, so I have 2 left over, right? And here's where this is pretty cool. Okay, I have a remainder of 2, but it's out of 3, right? I divided by 3, so it ends up being 18 2/3. So all I'm doing is taking my remainder and putting on top of what I divided by, and that's how you turn it into a fraction. So 18 2/3 is actually the correct answer. If you do this as a decimal, right, you would just put you put 0.0 here, and you would keep dividing the same thing over and over and realizing that you have 0.6 repeating. Okay, in this case, I have an exact answer, okay, which is 2/3, 18 2/3. And I did that again. I divided until I got 18. I had 2 remaining, or 2. I had 2 as a remainder, and 3 can't go into 2. All right, so I put the 2 on top of what I divided by, and I have that's remainder. I got the 56 from when here. I'll show you. Hopefully, it lets me go back. I might not be able to go back enough steps. That's why. So you can see I was dividing 56 by 3 over here. I don't know if you recall that. I was dividing by 56 over 3. So I was just showing that, so remember I had 52 on this side, and I was trying to get this side of the equation to equal 52. So I added 4 to both sides, and that's where I got 56. And then I had to divide it by 3. So, let me see if I can get this to work. Hold on. Never mind, that's not going to work. Okay, you can always go back and watch it again, I guess. Alright, so I don't know that there's anything else that we need to go over. And again, we're going to go over things on Friday, which is tomorrow. Your test is on Tuesday, which I believe I've really covered just about everything that's going to be on that test. All right, and I am hitting the 9 o'clock mark. We are at 9:01. So if there's anything in particular you want me to go over, let me know now, and I'll be happy to start class off that way. We'll talk about these things in class. And again, if you're watching this a day later, or watching this after it's done, you make sure you get your questions answered as well. So. And before I leave, what did you guys think of this format? Go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know if you liked the way that this looked, the way that it played out. Did it look okay? Was this easier to see? Is there anything I can do to improve it? All of these things are going to help me do a better job making life easier for you guys. So the more you can do, the better. So, do you retract the chat? I don't, but if people are wise and they say inappropriate things, they definitely would want to retract it, even though I can see what they said and it's retraction. So, yeah, I don't know. I would just make sure you behave yourself. So, it was good after a few minutes. Or YouTube. So I have a filter that will catch things in the. It'll catch like inappropriate words or language, and then I can either approve it or deny it. So like I can approve it if it's like, oh, it's something out of context and YouTube's confused, but if it's something inappropriate, I can block it. But sometimes, I can't catch everything. It's not perfect. Yeah, it took a couple minutes to... it takes a couple minutes to get this going, but I think next time, now that I have it all figured out, I think that it'll go a lot smoother. I can just jump right in and get right to the math portion of it. So, all right. And any other feedback, let me know when you see me tomorrow. And, I'll try to be better. I've been really unfair to Miss Fitzgerald and Mrs. Steffens. I've been deciding with my class last minute that I'm going to do these live streams, and then what ends up happening is when I send it out, that's when they can see it. So then they send it out last minute to their students. So, so students that are on red and blue, I apologize. And again, hopefully you're watching this the next day and getting something out of it. But I'll try to make this so that you can be involved right away and you can see this live. So that way it's a little more interactive. So. Let me see what else. What is the Twitch account name? Don't worry about that. If you find it, so be it. But I don't go broadcasting, and I haven't really been streaming on Twitch in a long time. So, if anyone wants my, oh Lord, okay, all right, we are closing this down before this gets out of hand. You guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions, come see me tomorrow, or come see your math teacher tomorrow. Farewell. Nice work.